morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day for you all. I know that we're having a lot of people joining from different time zones, and we had some people already opened the meeting in different time zones as well because it was a little bit of a mix-up. So thank you so much for joining. My name is Mohammed Munir. I am Managing Director of Pinnacle Limited. And for you who just started to join us, Pinnacle Limited is an ultra-modern consultation firm, have been in it since 2019, beginning of March 2019. It's absolutely a pleasure to be into this business now, currently working in 13 countries, and we're having 40 international consultants, which is I am so proud of having all this talented within Pinnacle. Sharif here is going to be the presenter, and he's sitting in Canada, so it's a little bit early for him now. Sharif is our marketing guru. Been in the field more than 29 years from different industries, Vodafone, ICT, telecommunication, a lot of industries he has
Xerox,
been around.
most importantly.
And most importantly as well, Xerox, of course. How can we forget? So Sharif is joining us from Canada, and he's going to be speaking to us today about the strategic marketing and what it is, the importance of the strategic marketing now. So definitely we would love to add value for everyone in the room. Please ask the questions. Feel free to participate. It's absolutely our pleasure. The content is going to be taking around 30 minutes. Then after that, it's going to be an open discussion. Logistics in the room, the health and safety exit is absolutely leave the room. We don't have exit. So it's going to be, the modern way of doing the webinar, the seminars is being on the webinar. So stay here, please. Don't exit. Don't leave us early. So I'll start with a quote from Henry Ford. When he said, a man who stops advertising to save money is exactly as the man who stops a clock to save the time. So having said that, and I believe it's, although it was in 1930s, 40s time, however, it still applies after nearly 100 years. It's never a time when we are not in the time of putting some investment in terms of the marketing. And I know a lot of companies now are suffering, whether they are small to medium enterprise, large enterprise. Everyone is short on cash and short on the business performance, sales, and so on, and that's absolutely fine. However, most of the companies at that point of time, the first thing that they think about is layoffs. So starting layoff of the labor, whether they are on the front line, middle management, or the higher management to save cost. And on the other hand, what they try to do is absolutely starting to go to the marketing budget, and then they cut the marketing budget, cutting marketing budget. And I'm telling you, in Pinnacle, we're very young. I think we're only nearly 2 years startup. But again, in this tough time, and you know how it is consultancy when during this tough time with the coronavirus, with the outbreak, with the lockdown, with people trying to save, we never stopped hiring people to different regions. And in fact, what we have done is that we have put much more money in terms of the marketing activities that we're doing. So saying that and going into the idea of that we're going through the planning period of the Q4 and planning for 2021 and beyond, Strategic marketing and putting the emphasis on the marketing is your key to succeed and go through this tough time with the right context in terms of how you spreading your product and services into the marketing. And now I'll leave that to Sharif to start understanding what is the difference between marketing and strategic marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a very famous quote from Henry Ford, and we know all that advertising is part of is a function of marketing, and how that is definitely about the communication, because marketing is about the communication. It's about spreading the word. It's about telling people and companies who you are and what you're worth, and what is your brand, and growing it, and so on. So advertising is definitely one of them, one of these functions. And when you look at more functions, and you look at strategically how advertising comes in as part of the communication stratosphere, basically, it's just that one part. It's just like a jigsaw. So there's communication, there's product, there's pricing, and so on. And this is just one part of it, one piece of it. And companies and people need to make sure that they get all this jigsaw right, because if there's one piece missing of the jigsaw, then the whole picture is distorted. You can't really see it, and that's why there has to be some planning. There has to be some strategy, and when we speak about strategic marketing, it's a long-term approach with the primary goal of achieving sustainable competitive advantage. It's very important to look into these words, sustainable competitive advantage, because we're all in the market for success. We're not there just to to have a good time. No, we're all in the market for success, for growth, for sustainable presence, and this is what business is all about. Even if it's a not-for-profit organization, it's still in the market for sustainability and presence and ongoing growth. So in order to achieve that, there has to be a strategy, there has to be a way, there has to be a direction of where the company should be going. So it is, if you look at it in absolute terms, it's a game changer in terms of understanding what your customers actually need versus what your organization can simply offer them. Because there's a little bit of a difference here. So there should be a guideline, a direction, name it whatever you want to name it, but it's just a way that guides the company to achieve that sustainable competitive advantage. And I'm going to say this more than one time, because the main idea is to stay in the market for success and for growth and for presence. And it's very important to give your customers what they want, as opposed to giving them what you can do. There's a big difference here. And there's so many examples. Like, how many times have companies been in situations where they have a particularly good product, but it fails because it doesn't address a specific need. It doesn't address a specific customer need. How many times have we seen that? So many times. Products just come out and then they just fade away. So many examples I can name. Maybe with Xerox I have maybe one or two. There's with Vodafone. When I was with Vodafone, it was the same thing. Also products that just came out and then died. More than I mean, if you look at the fast food industry, there's more than one product as well, like McDonald's and Burger King and so on. All of these companies, sometimes they just come out with a product. However, because it doesn't address a certain customer need, it just fades away. It fails. So that's why there has to be a direction. We have to address what our customers need, right? So this is the main idea.
Sharif, I have a question here. I mean, in order to be able to mainly be sure that there is a market need for that, that's a marketing research. That's again more spending money. That's again to be certain. And uh, how do we come over this? I mean, just guessing what will the customer need or
It
what?
is a component, absolutely. Yeah, that's a very good question. It is a component. It is one of the components of the strategy, and we're gonna go into a little bit of details when we talk about the three phases of the strategy now. But definitely, research is one piece. Again, it's another jigsaw, and the research is one piece of it. Because yes, we do need to know what the market wants, what the customers need. Moreover, we do need to know who the customer is. Who is our customer? A lot of companies also don't know who their customers are. So that's why companies now are spending a lot of money in segmentation, market segmentation, in positioning, in targeting, trying to find out exactly who their customer is. And that's why we hear about customer persona, for example, a new term that's been in use for the last decade or so. But it's again about that direction, that line, that route that we as a company should take. And that's why, in order to do this, we have to have a plan. That plan ties into the company's objectives. It has to tie into the company's objectives. Any company, any organization has objectives. Some companies will have objectives of increasing their market share. Others will be to grow their sales. Others will be to grow their revenue. Others will be just for be in the market for acquisition and mergers. Every company has objectives. That marketing strategy has to feed into the company objectives. It's not just a plan. It's not just another plan. It is a strategy. It is a way of doing business in order to achieve these company objectives. So that is why we need to have something different. We need to have a team that is responsible for addressing this strategy. And in preparing your strategy, a company usually goes through 3 steps or 3 phases. But before I go into this, am I going too fast, or does anybody have any questions or comments that we can address at this point, or shall I just keep going?
If no one, I have something. I have a clarification to make.
Sure.
Right. So you're saying that the strategic market, well, the difference between the strategic marketing and the marketing plans, that the marketing plans is mainly tactics, and this is the fault that most of the people would go in to start doing the marketing plan. Like, this is the advertising, this is the how much I'm spending, and so on, and these are the products that I want to convey to the market. However, it does not tie with the strategy of the company itself. And once this tie is not there, it's easy to stop the spending on the marketing, stop the advertising, because it does not tie to a direction and a way that we want to go forward.
Well, you know what? Yeah, you put it in a very nice way, and a lot of times, like I said, companies come out with just an advertising campaign or for a certain product or a certain service, or they come out with a new product or again a new service, and then they start coming out with some communication plans, which is all well and good, but again, who is it going to? Like, did we identify how is this going to serve our overall existence? It's good to have. Maybe they've gone through an extensive planning exercise, which is perfect, in order to plan that new advertising or new communication plan, whatever it is. But does it really feed into our overall objectives, overall company objectives? And this is a question I get asked. Well, I actually ask it many times to people to potential customers. What is your plan? Where do you want to be in 3 years? And a lot of the times people don't have an answer, which is a little bit surprising. And I'm talking about company owners and marketing directors and so on. So it is a little bit of a challenge, but definitely there has to be some objectives. A company has to have objectives. Yes, they can do all the planning that they want, but if the product or the service is not tied into what the company really needs to achieve, then it's going to be like going in a sort of a different direction. So that's why they need to have a strategy, a marketing strategy. And usually in order to do that, they go through 3 phases. One of them is a planning phase, just for simplicity, and I can break it down more than 3, but at least there's these 3 which are a little encompassing, and a planning phase is one of them, and then an implementation phase is another one, and then a third one is a review phase. But if we go into a little detail about the planning phase, and that's the most important phase. I come from a background of marketing planning and strategy and this area. I believe that this is the most important phase, because at this phase, this is when you determine your company's internal weaknesses and strengths and external factors. We speak about SWOT analysis and tools analysis and all that. It is a very important part that we address these internal and external factors. So in a planning phase, it typically includes some SWOT analysis, where you identify the areas of advantage in respect to the market. Where is your competitive advantage? How are you better than your competition? Any threats, any economical changes, any technology changes, what are you expecting in the market? And then you start defining what your customers' needs are, because now you have an idea of what the market looks like at this point and how it's going to look like maybe in 6 months' time or maybe in a year's time. So you start defining what your customers' needs are. And at this point, then you ask your question, who are your customers? What is the persona I'm addressing? Where are they located geographically? What market segments do they belong to? What will be the positioning of your product? All these questions need to be answered. It is important that we identify a customer. And again, it's all in the planning phase at the moment. We're still finding out our position in the market. We're trying to find out who the customer is, who are we addressing, this in order to be able to build a marketing program. And the marketing program is the how part of the marketing strategy, which is basically the 4 P's of marketing, which have now evolved into 7 P's and sometimes 8, 9, or 10 P's. It's been growing and growing over the years, but it's basically the 4 P's, or whatever you want to call them. It's the how of the marketing strategy. One important component of the how is definitely the budget. The budget that required for the marketing program. So in this planning phase also, it is important also to have a budget put there in order to help achieve the strategy. And the budget could be something for 6 months, could be something for a year, could be something for 3 years, but it has to be identified that we are going to go this, and we will need this amount of money in order to achieve that. Again, we'll just keep going back and back every time. This is all related to company objectives, where the company wants to be in a year or 3 years or 5 years' time. So that strategy has to feed into that. So now we've identified your target customer, we've identified how you're going to reach them. Now, what is your product or service going to address? What benefit is it going to give to your customers? How is it going to be different from any other product in the market? What makes your product different? What makes you better? What makes your product better than any other product in the market? So here, it's defining a unique selling proposition. Unique selling proposition. We've all heard this term so many times before. A USP, a unique selling proposition. Unique selling proposition. What makes your product different? Why would I, as a customer, go and buy your product as opposed to anybody else's? Why would you justify that? You have to let me know. You have to give me something very enticing to buy your product. Even if, I mean, as a customer, customers are willing to pay a little more money, but as long as the product addresses their needs. So how is your product special? How is it going to be different from any other product in the market? And that's your unique selling proposition. And this is an extensive exercise that you find out how you can differentiate yourself from any other product in the market. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort because it is also related to your brand. Because the product is, I mean, that unique selling proposition is also going to be related to your brand. It will help your brand. Any branding exercise, yes, it takes years and years to build, but this is one of the stepping stones, finding that unique selling proposition. So it's very important to define that as well in an early stage. After all this, you need to define the people. How are you going to, how people are going to know that you have a new product? So defining a channel. And asking that question about the channels is also very important. Is it going to be digital only? Is it going to be traditional media and communication? You spoke about advertising at the beginning in Henry Ford. Yeah, so how is it going to do that? There wasn't any digital marketing back in Ford's time. It was only traditional. But how are you going to do it now? What channels are you going to use? Social media only, digital only? Are you going to go traditional? Are you going to use newspapers and TVs and TV and magazine and radio and so on? Or are you going to make a mix of both? So it's this communication part and the need to deliver the right message at to the right people at the right time. 3 rights. I always say this. Needing to deliver the right message to the right people at the right time, and that's all about the communication part and choosing the right channel. Sorry, Munir.
Chief, I was gonna be, because this is the dilemma that we are all sitting here with. Where should I advertise? Where should I communicate with the clients? I mean, even if we're talking about social media now, it's becoming crazy. I mean, Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, LinkedIn, or doing my website things, search engine optimization, or the newspaper, or even the TV or radio. This is going crazy. How do we define what are the right channels?
That's $1 million question. This is an extensive exercise that I mean, I can't sit right in front of a customer even right now, and when they ask what channels should I use, I would just go, yeah, you should use this channel. I can't do that. It has to be an exercise that we go through. There's also some objectives of the communication, objectives for the communication. It's who do you want to reach? So that's the first question out of many. Who do you want to reach? And that relates to what I was just speaking about earlier today about the segmentation. So who's your customer? So if you're addressing older people, maybe 70 years or older, then you might want to consider TV, radio, or newspaper, and be heavy on this part, and maybe be a little light on social media and digital. This might be a way of addressing them. On the other hand, if you're addressing the 20, 30-year-old crowd, then you might as well go to social media heavily and maybe ignore TV and radio altogether. So it depends mainly on who you want to address, who you want the message to go to. And this is just one component of that communication. It is a lengthy exercise, but yes, if somebody wants to identify that, then we can definitely go into more details and address this on a separate level. But it is a lengthy exercise, that's for sure.
Excuse me. May I ask a question,
Yes.
please?
Go ahead, Fuad.
What if I want to address everyone, all ages, all genders, everyone in the market, like in foodstuff or these the chipsy things, You know, you can't you have to address everyone in the market.
You can.
What kind of what kind of a strategy you follow here, or a plan you do to address everyone in the market?
It is what we call, there's something that was is a concept with communication, with marketing communication. It's called integrated marketing communication. It is changed now to integrated brand promotion. It's like an evolution, and the idea is to use different channels in order to integrate them in order to reach different types of people. And that example you said is really good. Chips and potato chips and all this, because it addresses a vast majority of the market. So in this case, it is a good idea to use different channels, traditional, use digital, and make a mix of both. And having to do that, like I said, the concept is an integrated brand promotion, and it basically integrates different kinds of communication channel in order to.
Hi everyone, Sharif Youssef here. How are you planning your marketing activities for 2021? Do you have a clear direction for your marketing messaging? Do you know what tactics you'll use to beat your competitors? In other words, do you have a solid marketing strategy? Join me on Pinnacle Live on October 15th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for tips on building a good marketing strategy. Click the link to register. Thank you, and see you all soon.
Come out with the right messages to the right people at the right time as well. It is a plan, so it does take time. The messages could be different, could be the same. They could look different. So it is a plan. It is a long exercise, and this is actually, this is a workshop that I offer also as well. It's about integrated brand promotion and making sure that the communication speaks the brand. But it's a very good question, Fouad. Thank you. It is definitely something that could happen, that we may do it. It is about integrating different communication channels and making them speak about the product, making them speak about the brand in an integrated way.
Okay, another question related to the same subject.
Sure.
How could I find the right brand to address everyone? Is there any tools to do this, or find a designer or something like that, for instance?
Can you elaborate a little bit, Fouad? I didn't quite get your question.
Yes. How do I choose the right brand for everyone, to reach everyone?
You as a provider, or you as a customer?
As a producer, I need to let's say I need to find the right brand for my products to reach everyone in the market. What to do? Is there any methodology?
Yes. Again, I'll take it back to planning and strategizing again. One of the things, if you look at, for example,
Coca-Cola, Pepsi.
Coca-Cola. Yeah, let's take Coca-Cola, or maybe look at Vodafone, for example. Any company can have different products, and they address different market segments. So right now, maybe because I'm away from Cairo for a number of years, I don't know the exact products, but I know for a fact that we used to have certain products that address different market niches. Having said that, then each product will be branded on its own, and then each product will have its own integrated brand promotion strategy. Each product will have its own it will have its own plan and strategy as well. But again, all this ties in to the overall strategy of the company. If the company wants to address different segments of the market, then yes, they will produce different products and come out with different products for different segments. If the company's strategy is to just work on one niche of the market, then they will continue using that same product, the same brand for that niche. Another example is actually here in Canada, the cell phone providers, the mobile phone providers, they categorize themselves. So there's a company that addresses a certain niche, and it has already acquired another company that is addressing another niche, and a third company that is addressing a third niche of the market. All of them offer cell phone services. They offer them in different pricing. They offer them in different coverage areas. But it's exactly what you're saying, which is, yeah, they want to address different needs. They want to address different markets, and that's why they have different companies offering these services.
And maybe I just need to jump here and not to distract from the main subject about the marketing and the branding, but it's mainly if we are starting now to have a new product for it or a new company, and I know I need to do the branding for it and so on. People would start really starting with, okay, what is the name of this company? And I need to go to an advertising agency and ask them to do me a logo. And then after that, I'm going to put something let's go ahead and do a Facebook page and so on and so forth. And this is where we try as a consultant to stop the people here. Please, how can you name something and design something that you did not know exactly what it is? You're still in the very first phases, as if you're naming a child. You don't know if it's a boy or a girl. So guys, let's start with the idea of that we need, when you go to start up a brand, a new brand or a new company, all what you need is a business canvas. What is this product? Why am I going to be having this? What is the niche? Who are the clients? What is my pricing strategies? And because everything in the business canvas is going to affect the marketing strategy and the marketing tactic and the marketing plan. And this is what we are here to tell you, is that without having the marketing strategy tied up to the main business strategy, your marketing plan is going to be spending money and no return. But if you are starting everything with a strategy that is going along with the strategy of your business, you drive from that the operation plan, the budgeting, the finance plans, and so on. This is where you would be able to get the marketing strategy right, where the 7 Ps or the 4 Ps or the marketing plan would be working for you. Prior to that, please just get, why are you here? This is the most important question that we need to ask. Why is my brand exist? And that's where it all starts.
Yeah, absolutely.
May I add something? Munir and Sharif, please? I guess also, in addition to your idea, the repetitive advertising the brand all over and over and over, it helps to expand the market of your product. You see what I mean? I mean, using all kind of media for your brand, so the repetitive people, they see your brand name, your logo all over the time, like Xerox. They did the same. Vodafone, Coca-Cola, all these big names. Plus the quality, of course.
Of course, yes, absolutely.
And offer good quality, and you enrich this quality by repetitive advertising all over the time. So you spend a lot of money on advertising, of course.
Yeah. And we have to admit that this repetition, this consistency is very important. I'll send it back to the integrated brand promotion plan. So it all has everything to do with that integrated brand promotion or integrated marketing communication plan. The repetition of ads, the consistency of the ads, the frequency, and all that. It is all part of the plan. So again, it is part of the plan, and it has to be part of the overall strategy that the company is working on. I'll go back to the 3 phases, and we were talking about the planning phase. So now we've addressed pretty much everything. We've checked the market. We know what the market is looking like. We know what the weaknesses are and the threats and our strengths and our competition. And we started to build a marketing program where we know what our 4 Ps, 7 Ps, 8 Ps, whatever they are. We know that we have a budget identified for that. We've identified who our customers are. And obviously, we've identified what the unique selling proposition is of our product, how we're going to be different from the market. Now, we've also identified the communication plan, and the communication plan is, like I said, it's part of delivering that message, getting that message right, and delivering it to the right people at the right time. So now we're ready for the implementation phase, and that is the action portion. This is where we start actioning the plan or the strategy. This phase is important, and it depends primarily on how adequately and competently the plan structured in the previous phase. The implementation depends primarily on how well the plan was structured. Now, the program can now be put into effect through sales forecasting, having a budget for sales, and so on. Everybody knows about our strategy, our marketing strategy in the company. Communication is key. Internal communication is key in this phase. So now we need to have some resources. Who are the people? Obtain some human resources. The funds required to develop and market the new products. Maybe the product needs to be produced. Still have to produce it, but obtaining resources is one part or one piece of the implementation phase. And once you do that, resources, like I said, can be human resources, can be funds and cash. Then you design the marketing organization or the team that's going to work on that. There has to be a team. There has to be a marketing hierarchy for that specific initiative. Every initiative has to have something. If it's a complete marketing strategy, then you definitely have to have a marketing hierarchy. If it's a specific product, specific service, then you need to have a team. That team can work cross-functionally. Ideally, to have a team that works cross-functionally to bring the product or the program to life. And this team needs to have its own planning schedule for carrying out specific tasks, because this team is going to be accountable for delivering on the marketing strategy. Sorry, Fuad.
Okay, Sharif, sorry to interrupt you, but there is a question that came to my mind about how to build the trust with your customer.
Okay.
You have a product, and you have an aggressive plan to the market with a repetition of advertisement, all these things, but you need to build a trust with your customer first.
Yeah, I will address this question towards the end, because I'm going to talk about it towards the end, if you don't mind. So, in the implementation phase, like I said, we've obtained resources, we've designed a marketing organization or a team for that specific program or product to come out. Accountability has been defined, and then you start executing the plan. And effectively executing the marketing plan will take attention to detail, needs people to be very much on top of everything, focus on the strategy. If there are tactics, then start applying them, and all these will be defined in the marketing plan. Implementation is going, execution is on its way. There definitely will be issues. no plan is 100% solid or 100% correct. I remember a quote from our dear general manager back in the 90s. A plan is a plan. Do you remember that, Munir?
Yeah.
From Noah Jibara. A plan is a plan, meaning that once you've done the plan is put in the shelf, is put in the books. Now you're executing. So while you're executing, there has to be some issues come up. Maybe there are issues regarding the market. Maybe there are issues regarding the implementation internally. Maybe there's something wrong with the product. Maybe there's many things. Maybe customers have some complaints. The thing is now, this is phase 3 of the strategy, which is the evaluation, control, and review. And this is the checking phase. So
can I yes, sorry, Chief, just
Go
before
ahead.
we continue, is that because a lot of clients, when we started to do that consultancy, a lot of clients would come and ask us to, yes, but I need to save time, so I don't want to spend a lot of time in planning, saving time, go to market very fast and so on, and let's get practical. And those are the things that I would definitely say yes to, but no to as well, because it's absolutely, it is, the idea is how to mix and match between doing the right strategy, giving the right time to do the strategy, because this is winning time rather than just saving time. If you don't go through this strategy planning phase where you put all things together and make sense on the plan, you're going to be wasting time anyway. You go, you're absolutely in a mess up, you're trying things, you're wasting time, you're wasting resources, and you're wasting money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spend the time right on the strategy phase, and then the implementation, you would find these kind of things, but it's going to be minimal. And it's not going to be like when you go, okay, let's نشمر وننزل, or yeah, let's get everything done and let's do the practical thing and be the practical way. This is, at the end of the day, is going to be all over the place, spending a lot of time and money.
Yeah, I have seen this so many times where companies, they just, like you said, they just, hit the market, whatever it is, and then they start hitting reality. Oh, this is not what the customers needed. Oh, I shouldn't have communicated. Oh, nobody knew about my product, and so on and so forth, because they come out with something very quickly, like you said, and they don't know. They don't really know. And then they go back and then they start iterating, they start changing.
Yes.
And every time they change, they spend more money. So why do you do that? And my question is always, why do you do that? Why do you just not do it right the first time? You just need to plan it properly. You need to know where you want to be, and then plan it properly. And then from there, start implementation. Yes, it's not going to be 100% solid, but it's definitely not going to be 10 or 20%. If you spend a lot of time, proper time planning and strategizing and making sure that everything ties in together, then you'll definitely be on the right track. If you just go haphazard and anything, just hit the market with anything, it's not a good thing. And every time you will go back and you spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money trying to address these issues. And
Absolutely.
At the end, it's just going to be more than doing it right the first time.
You know what, guys? I even not in the marketing as well. It's absolutely in the sales as well. When we are going to have a sales engagement with one client, I'm not speaking about the sales strategy or the sales target plan for the entire year. I am going to meet one client. I have to put the plan for those meetings, the plan for how to engage with this client, the plan for what is the purpose of this meeting, and then the next one, and then the next one. And I spend time before being face to face with the client. Don't do that. You would go and you're going to be wasting a lot of your time, your customer time, and it's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
Do the planning, always do the planning. This is time winning rather than time saving.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is time
That's
very well spent.
absolutely. Sharif, we only have 15 minutes. We need to win some time back. So I'm gonna
Yes.
get you.
Okay.
We need to continue doing what you're doing to cover that entire thing.
Okay. All right. So we've covered now the three phases of the strategy, which is the planning phase, the implementation phase, and then the review phase or control. Now, here are a few guidelines for the effective part of strategic marketing. Okay. So how to get effective strategic marketing? A few tips, and probably they are. A lot of us know them, but just to put things into perspective. One of them is setting smart goals. Everybody knows SMART goals, right? SMART objectives: set, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-framed goals. Okay, so that's one thing. Spend a lot of time and effort on your market research. And I think we had a question about market research at the beginning. So yes, market research, it is part of the plan. It is part of the strategy. Your strategy needs to be based on facts. Any plan, any strategy has to be based on facts. You cannot go and just, haphazardly put some numbers on a piece of paper. So that's why spend time, spend effort on market research. Clear definition of your customers' needs. This is key also. And then communication. Remember, again, right message, right person, right time. And then review and correct. And the review phase, to me, this is one of the most important pieces of a plan or a strategy, the review phase, because this is where you find issues. This is where you address the issues. This is where you correct your image, correct your product so that you address every customer in the market. One of the concepts that we actually deliver here in Pinnacle is the agile marketing concept as well, which is basically to be able to address issues quickly. That's like in a nutshell. But review and correct. So in terms of guidelines for effective strategic marketing, again, set SMART goals, do your research, define your customers, be clear on your communication, and then review and correct. So how does your organization as a whole benefit from strategic marketing? This is a big one. I can speak for hours, but one thing is clear direction. And when I say clear direction here, it is with regards to employees and with regards to customers. Clear direction. You have an informed management decision or informed management decisions. You have a clear direction for your employee. When you have a clear direction for your employees, they are more loyal, they are more committed. They speak about your company because now they're acting like ambassadors. They speak about the company with potential customers. They are more loyal, they're more committed. Be proactive. Another thing also for benefits, in terms of benefits for the organization, is to be proactive. You are addressing your customers' needs, not reacting to what the competition is doing. Not waiting for your competitors to come up with a product or a service or a price plan and then you react to it. No, you're trying to be proactive. You want to know what your customers need. And once you do that, and when you have a clear direction, then you're on the route for sustainable growth, revenue and market share. Or you're on your route, let's put it this way, you're on your route for achieving your objectives, short-term or long-term. And most importantly, and this is what a lot of business owners, especially small and medium businesses, look for, operational efficiencies. you get more efficient in producing your product, in carrying out your operation. So therefore, economies of scale come into play. So these are some of the benefits from a strategic marketing point of view. What are the benefits for the organization? Again, clear direction, being proactive, sustainable growth, and addressing our objectives, and operational efficiency. And up to here, I can say that I have concluded my part of the workshop. I hope it was beneficial, eye-opening, shedding some light, and I hope to get in contact with anybody that would like some more information. But now I'd like to open for questions and answers.
Yeah. Something that came to my mind that a lot of people might be questioning about it, and excuse me to put the question in your head, guys, but this is the normal thing that will be happening. I would presume if I'm now a business owner or a marketing manager or a sales manager or an organization in business somehow, having this question in mind, how can we plan and put a strategy in an environment like this? We don't know if the second wave is going to be coming. We don't know what is the value of the FX. We don't know if there's going to be another lockdown or not, and the regulations, and it's a lot of dynamics in this kind of environment that we're living in. So it's foggy. We cannot see and plan for the next couple of months. What about a plan for a year or 3 years? And the short answer for that is that this is the time for planning. This is the time to put the strategy. So I would say if we are in a certain environment, if we are in a steady status where things are not changing a lot, it's not dynamic a lot, I would say that absolutely go chill, It's okay, you know what you're doing, and nothing will change a lot. But if we are in a certain environment like what we are in now, with the situation that we're, please spend the time in the plans. Spend the time in putting the strategy, because the idea is that the amount of distractions, the amount of dynamics that will distract you from where you are, or the pull, when you get the pull, I want you to go to this direction, or we need to go to this direction, and so on and so forth, is going to be huge. And for that, please have a strategy, stick to it, and move to the direction in the right way. This is the best time, or this is the most important time when you put a strategy and you follow.
So let me ask our audience, who here is a small business owner or a business owner or a decision maker in their company? Okay.
We have Fadi.
This is Fadi. And who else?
Behi.
And Behi. Okay, so you guys, do you want to share with us your experiences? I mean, if you have gone through a strategy exercise, a marketing strategy exercise before, do you want to share with us?
Arabic or English, we appreciate. We have people outside, but we can absolutely summarize in English and do that.
Or in Arabic, it doesn't matter.
Or in Arabic, absolutely.
Yeah.
So maybe
if you'd like to speak, just unmute yourself and come up.
I'll start if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead. Hi, Fadi.
Hi. First of all, there is a relationship here. Kind of, I have been living in Canada for a while. I came back in 2010 in Egypt to take over the family business. It's a travel agency that we have.
Okay. Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Fadi, that was tough industry that you get in. The time 2010 travel agency and so on. This is tough. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you. And it's tougher now. Like I thought we were done with the toughest time when we had 2 revolutions. Now it's even worse. But that's the thing. Like I have a confession to make. I was not handling marketing at all. It was all word of mouth. It was all referrals from friends. Uh, I'm I'm taking this time as an opportunity because it's very quiet. I'm actually taking a marketing course. I don't know if you know Dr. Rami Khudair. He's
Yeah,
an
of
ex.
course. Rami was a colleague.
Okay, I didn't know, but I jump into any webinar whenever I have the time. I had my special circumstances. I had a daughter with complex medical issues when she was born, so that was 2 years ago. So I'm learning now. It's overwhelming to say the least. I did not know that marketing entails all of this, like planning, strategic, and I was unfortunately I was working in my business, not on my business. So
Yes,
I'm
very nicely said.
Very nicely said, yes.
so like my parents were both in the tourism industry, and like my mom was on the ticketing side, like the air side. My dad was on the tourism side. So I learned a bit of both, like where to get good deals, good prices, how to compete with Booking.com and Expedia, but making like marketing plans and this, no. Like I'll be very honest with you, I have not. I'm, I'm considering it now, or I'm honestly considering selling my business and checking something else because even before coronavirus, the online competition is killing the brick and mortar businesses.
Yeah.
I'm being very upfront. I'm not going to say it's not hard to compete with them. It's very hard.
Yes.
Especially, I would say I inherited 70% of my clients. I only did 30 more than what my parents did, and the clients in Egypt are very, very price sensitive.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
it's and when we talk price sensitive, we're talking not even 0.5%. They would go to another. Like loyalty in the travel business is almost non-existent anymore.
If I may say something about the price sensitivity just before I leave it to you, I've been managing the strategy and marketing deployment in the developing market operation in Zeros for the last 10 years, from 2010 to 2019. Let me tell you that in Kuwait, they were saying that it is a price sensitive market. And when we were going to US and Rochester putting the plan, and they were saying, you know, the US market is absolutely price sensitive, but you are in the Arab countries you're not absolutely price sensitive. So everywhere it is a price sensitive market. And that's absolutely something that we deal with the marketing and how to be able to create the value rather than looking at the price. I'll leave it to Sharif. Yeah.
And it's a huge confession. I really commend you for coming up with this confession, Fadi. But like you said, it is a starting point for you, and I believe that yes, getting some information and hopping onto some webinars and all that is really good. I do also suggest that in the opportunity, if there's an opportunity for seeking some professional advice as well, this would be my advice to you. It is good, maybe like you said, if the marketing is price sensitive, then yeah, just like we said in the exercise, you can choose your target market, choose who the people that you want to address. This is part of the strategy, but again, I will just bring it back to the whole strategy thing. You need to know where you want to be. You said two things right now while we were speaking. You said that you're growing your company and that you got like 30% extra on the number of clients, and you also said that you were thinking of selling your company. So these are two very distinct objectives. It's all good. Whatever you want to do it's your company at the end, but just define that objective. If your objective is to sell within the next year, 3 years, whatever they are, that's fine. But you need to have a strategy for that as well. If your strategy is to continue in the market, maybe you need to focus on a certain niche. Maybe you need to focus on like a specific requirement, not everybody. And maybe you need to integrate some new communication methods and so on. So yes, there's no, I can't say that on the contrary, you're doing all things right at the moment. Just need to define your objective and then work on a strategy to achieve that objective.
Okay, thanks. If you don't mind, I'd like to share some thoughts with you and later on, because I don't want to take a whole questions answer session on my.
Yeah, absolutely. Be my pleasure. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please do that.
Thank you so much.
Right. So it's time. However, we can extend if there are any questions that we can answer quickly. Right. Okay, and in the conversation, we're absolutely clear. So I think we can do for once that we can close on time. Attendees, delegates, I cannot thank you enough for being here. It was very good to have you all here. Very nice conversation, Fadi, and everyone has been absolutely great. With listening what we have to say, and thank you so much for being available. This Pinnacle live is going to be happening on every 3 weeks. So stay tuned. We're going to be absolutely giving you some ideas about what are the next topics, so that if you're interested, please join us in that.
I just need to interrupt here. I think Narendra has a question. Narendra, go ahead. You're muted.
Hello, Yasir. Hi, Narendra here. Can I ask a simple question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. So it's related to the marketing scenario. Organizations usually are running, let's say, aspiring to become the best in the business. So while we look at, let's say, a company is trying to achieve the #1 market share, try to achieve #1 position in the market. So different organizations use different marketing, strategies. By way of looking at top line and bottom line in their own unique ways, what suits them internally. Sometimes there are products which are like entry level, which are run rate to them, which gets them top line, which is the revenues, helps them to post good and greater revenues. And of course, there are some products, there are some services which help them get profits. Which is the bottom line, very premium products, either through service or either through exclusive products. So my question, while both the strategies work at different time and different markets and different customer segments alike, good. My question to you, Yasir, would be that if you can provide some insight as to what's good actually, and in what circumstances. While we are saying in generally both the strategies have been found to have got adopted by leading organizations of the world, great brands, and they made good fortunes by becoming very profitable, by becoming #1 market share in the industry. So in your view, what's good, and in what circumstances, what strategy is good and beneficial, and what are the drivers that one must keep in mind so that it works well for the organization? Thank you.
Thanks, Narendra. Obviously, there's no one size fits all type of strategy. Any company, any organization will need to go through the objectives, and this is what I was just also advising Fadi to do. Just need to know your objectives first. one depending on the size of the organization and so on. So that's a starting point. And that starting point, I think, is common to all organizations. However, once we've put that, then we need to define the strategy itself. And one strategy, again, it will all tie to the objective. So if a company has an objective of doubling their market share within the next 5 years, definitely will be different from a company that wants to increase their market share by 10% in the next year or two. So it is going to be different. Also, a company that, for example, is going to dissolve or is going for a merger or going for an acquisition will definitely have different objectives from another company that is here for existence. And so
yeah,
it is definitely different, and we can't generalize, or we can't just put one type of approach for all companies. But what we can do is study and understand, again, where the company wants to be, and then according to that, then we devise a plan. Maybe it could be something very simple that will be implemented in 6 months, and that's it. Maybe it's a long-term thing. Maybe it's a branding exercise that takes a long-term process. So yeah, I can't say that there's a one answer that fits every situation. Every company
does not exist.
No,
It does not exist.
every company has its own situation. Every company has its own objectives and so on. So and the situation differs. Economical situations, technological situation, and so many things.
But I would just suggest the first thing to do, Narendra, is that we need to let them lose this kind of things that they will be the number one in the market share. This kind of vision and mission, the number one market share, the number one, and so on. I don't know when and how do you define number one. So this is absolutely a vision and mission that everyone puts in there, and everyone else just skip to it. So this is the first thing that we need to do. Define a real objective. Define something that we really work for. Define something that all of us inside this organization will work on it. And the moment that we get into the real strategic planning is that we put a real strategic objective. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Okay, so I know it's interesting, and I don't literally normally I would keep going, having questions and answers. I love that, but I want to stick to where we are and being punctual in our time. So thank you so much for your availability. Thank you. Stay tuned for the next webinar, and the recording will be.
Let people know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say that the recording is going to be available in short time. Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
I was just going to let people know that we would be very happy to answer any questions separately. You have our emails, or you can reach out to us on our website if any questions or any discussions. But thank you again for your presence, and it was a pleasure speaking with all of you.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharif. Thank you.
Thank you for everything. All right. See you for now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.